Kadosh Boker Or Masechet Kiddushin Daf Masechet Amud Aleph 48a1. We were talking about right now that the machloket was, we said that mocher shtar chov lechaverov, you sell a shtar chov to your friend, and then you went to your mochelet. So therefore, even the yoresh, or even if the yoresh is going to be mochel, so therefore, according to Chachamim, that they hold of Shemuel, right? So therefore, what happens is that he could be mochel, and the other person loses out. And therefore she's not mekudeshet. And according to Rabbi Meir, he doesn't know the Shmuel, and therefore since he cannot be mochel, so therefore she's going to be mochelet. Everyone understood what happened? One more time. I have a shtar chov, right? He owes me $1 million. I come and I sell it to you, right? Now, he owed me the money. I'm going to come, after selling it to you, I come and say, you know what? I forgive you. All of a sudden, you lose out on the money. According to Chachamim, that works. That's according to Shmuel. And therefore, since it works, she's not going to have smichut dat, and therefore, if he comes and he does that to her, she's not going to be considered married. Why? Because he could be mochel, and that's it. The entire thing goes down the drain. But according to the other shita, which is the shita of the beginning, since it does not help, so therefore, what happens is that she is going to be mekudeshet. Okay? Masechet Amud Aleph. If you want, you could answer. Everybody holds of Shmuel, right? Yeah, and here we're talking about that the machloket is to do with the woman, which means more tzavar Rabbi Meir holds isha semcha data. A woman is going to be somechet data. What does that mean? When she's going to come and she's going to be mitkadeshet, she's going to be somechet data that he cannot be mochel. And meimar amra, therefore she's going to say lo shavik lele didei umachal leachri. It doesn't make sense that he's going to come and he's going to forgive al cheshboni. Umor savar, but the other one holds isha nami lo smechet. No, she's not going to be somechet data. Why? Maybe he's going to forgive and then he loses out. So because of that, it doesn't help. So b'milval peh, when we're talking about milval peh, b'may plige, what is the machloket? Remember, milval peh is when it's not done with a document, it's done bal peh. That's a milval peh. So therefore, what's the machloket between Rabbi Meir and Chachamim? And Ravuna Marav and Ravuna Marav. The Amar Ravuna Marav says Ravuna Marav. Imagine a person comes and he says, "I have a maneh in your hands, right? Teneu lo ploni, give it to this person." The Ma'amad Shloshtan, and he did it in Ma'amad Shloshtan, kana, he's going to acquire it. So imagine, I come and I tell him, right, you have $100 of mine. Don't pay it back to me. Pay it back to Mordechai. Give it to the boss. Yeah? So what happens? If he said it in Ma'amad Shloshtan, kana. More savarki kamarav, one of these words, according to more, which is Chachamim, hanamila bepikadon, only to do with the pikadon. Aval milve, but to do with the loan, no, he's not going to acquire it, right? Because he's not going to be somech dato on this. Umor savar, but more holds, lo shna milve, lo shna pikadon. There's no difference between a milve and a pikadon. Okay? So says the Gemara, why don't we say it's a machloket then? Neima ketanai, why don't we just say it's a machloket tanai? It's gatshili bishtar. Imagine a person comes and he tells a woman, get married to me with a shtar. Rabbi Meir says, ena mekudeshet. Rabbi Nazar says, mekudeshet. Chachamim omrim, shamin et aniyar. You're going to evaluate the paper. If the paper has shaveh pruta, she's going to be married. And if not, she's not going to be married. Which means that according to him, the paper is what's doing everything. It's not what's written on the paper. I don't care about the loan or whatever it is that's written on the paper. It's only the paper in itself is going to actually come and make her married or not. So ask the Gemara, what type of a shtar is it? If you're going to tell me it's a shtar chov da'acherim, it's a stiran Rabbi Meir. Because according to Rabbi Meir, he went and he said that en mekachim b'shtar chov shel acherim, and now we just said that a shtar chov, she's going to be mekudeshet because he cannot be mochel. But rather, it has to be shtar chov dideh, his own shtar chov, not a shtar chov of somebody else, his own shtar chov. The mekadesh b'milve kam ipalgen. The machloket is, can a person be mekadesh with a milve or not? So Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, what are we dealing with? Kegon shekitcha bishtar she'en alav edim. No. She did get married with a shtar, and it's a shtar chov, but there's no edim on the shtar. Rabbi Meir, the Tamen, Rabbi Meir goes according to his reasoning, that he says, edeh chatima kalte, to do with the get. What cuts off the get? The edim which are giving over the get, the mesira, or edeh chatima, the ones which are signing on the get. According to Shitat Rabbi Meir, it's edeh chatima. Rabbi Elazar goes according to his reasoning that it's medeh mesira karte, right? So Rabbanan Mesavkelu. So according to the rabbis, they have a doubt: do we paskin like Rabbi Meir or like Rabbi Lazar? And therefore, we're going to evaluate the paper. If it's the paper as Shaveh Pruta, it's going to be Mekudeshet. And if not, it's not going to be Mekudeshet. Okay? That's going to be the first answer. Or if you want, you could answer another answer. They didn't write it Lishma. Right? There's a machloket in Resh Lakish. What is the Resh Lakish exactly? So by Resh Lakish started to sing Shekatvo Shalom Lishma Mao. Meaning like this. We know that a get, it says Vekatav La. La needs Lishma. Vekatav La Fregritut. So when you come and you're going to write a get, it has to be Lishma. What's going to happen by a Shtare Rusin? Does that have to be Lishma or not? That's a question of Resh Lakish. So Havaya Le'Yitzia Makshinan. Do we make a Havaya Le'Yitzia Aikesh? Just like Yitzia, we need Nishma. So too, right? Also, we need the Havaya Lishma. Af Havaya Nami Beni Lishma. Or Dilmar, maybe Havayot La De Makshinan. Maybe when you come in, which is going to be Kiddushin, you put them together. Just like the money does not need to be Lishma, so too the Havaya, none of it does have to be Lishma. Meaning the Shtar doesn't have to be Lishma. When you have money, did you mint the money Lishma? To give her the money and say Harei Mekudesh, or when you give her a ring, did you go to the factory to come and start making the ring, to come and to give it to her and say Harei Mekudesh? You know, like you didn't have that Nishma. So just like the Havayot go together. So basically, what's a stronger Hekesh? Havaya to Havaya, which means Kiddushin to Kiddushin. And we're talking about Kiddushe Shtar to Kiddushe Kesef. Or do we say it's stronger the Kiddushin to the Girushin? Shtar. Just like the Shtar Girushin needs Lishma, so to Shtar Kiddushin means Lishma. So Bata the Baya, after they asked the question, Hadar Pashta, they answered it. V'yatzea v'ayita Makish Havaya Letzia. We make the Hekesh, the going out, the Girushin, to the Kiddushin. Okay? More Itle the Resh Lakish. So Rabbi Meir holds of Resh Lakish, and therefore it has to be written Lishma. And therefore, if it wasn't written Lishma, she's not married. And according to Rabbi Lazar, he doesn't hold of Resh Lakish. If you want, you can learn a third one. Right? Everybody holds of Resh Lakish that it has to be written Lishma. But you wrote a Lishma, but it was Shalom Midata. And the machlok between Rav and Ravina and Rav Papa and Rav Shavia can be palged the Itmar. Ketavol Lishma Shalom Midata. Rav and Ravina says Mekudeshet. Rav Papa and Rav Shavia say En Mekudesh. Meaning, according to everybody, you still need a Lishma. The question is, what happens if you wrote it and she didn't know about it? Meaning, like sometimes it happens nowadays. They come, they get engaged, but it was a surprise, Kino. They didn't know. She could be suspecting it or something like that, but she doesn't know 100%. So that's the question. Yeah, that's the entire question. Okay. So says the Gemara, Neima Kahani Tanai. Why don't we just say there's a Machlok Tanai? The Tanyas we learned in a Braita. Asel Ishiraim Nizamim V'Tabaut. Imagine right now she comes and she says, make me all these types of bracelets and rings and earrings and all these things. And I'm going to get married to you. Given Shasan, once he made it, she's going to be married. These are the words that mean. Chachamim say she's not going to be Mekudesh until the money gets to her hand. Meaning until the money doesn't get into her hand, it's nothing. So says the Gemara, which mamon are we talking about now? If you're going to tell me now, Oto mamon, the same money that he gave it, Miklad Tanakama holds that even Oto mamon nami lo, right, it doesn't have to get to her hands. That immediately once he finishes it, that says she's Mekudeshet. Ela b'may bo mekadsha. What is she getting married with? Ela la b'mon acher has to do with other money. Ushma mina b'mekadesh b'milve kamipagesh. So it comes out this is a machloket. Can you be mekadesh with a milve? V'savre dechuli alma yeshna l'schilu mitchila v'atzof. Right. However, though the chiyuv of tashlum of paying is going from the beginning until the end. V'milve ma'ila b'kamipagesh. We're not talking about this is machlok between them. The more savar hamkadesh b'milve mekudeshet, the more savar hamkadesh b'milve en mekudeshet. Whether it's going to be it's mekudeshet or not mekudeshet. So answers the Gemara, no. The chule alma mekadesh b'milveh, we said like the beginning that we always say. If you're going to be mekadesh b'milveh, you're not mekudeshet. And here we're talking about right that the machloket is that does there exist the concept the chiyuv of paying the schar every single time that you do a shaveh pruta or not? More savar Meir holds memchet amubet ena l'schirut ela besof, which means you only have to pay the poel when he finishes the job. According to Chachamim, you have to pay them from the beginning, right, until the end. Another way to explain the machloket, according to everybody, there does exist a concept of schirut mitchila v'ad sof, which means schar ha'uman is considered a milveh. V'hamkadesh b'milveh is not considered mekudeshet. V'hacha be'uman konesh b'shevach kli kamipol. But here the machloket is an uman koneh b'shevach kli. More savar uman koneh b'shevach kli. More savar uman koneh b'shevach kli. To explain this, I'm going to explain to you a very interesting concept. Do you know there is a chumrah by a get, right? That after the sofer comes and he writes the get, he gives it to the husband to pick it up, to acquire it again. Now, even though the husband already made an acquisition on the paper and on the writing materials, right? What happens is you still give it to the husband to acquire it. This is a chumrah, but the chumrah is based upon this concept. What does that mean? The uman is a sofer. He's the, how do you say uman? He's the not the apprentice. He's the worker. There's a better word for it. I forgot the word. Okay, he's the uman. Okay, so now what happens? He's coming and he's writing a get. When he writes the get, that's shevach kli. He appreciated the value. Beforehand was a piece of paper. Beforehand it was ink. You had ink, piece of paper. He put them together. He made it into a get. So therefore, there's a concept called uman koneh b'shevach keli. An uman is going to acquire in that which he came and he appreciated the value of the utensil. So according to that, beforehand, even though everything belonged to the husband, when the sofer comes and he writes it, he just acquired it. So according to that shita that he just acquired it because uman koneh b'shevach keli, he gives it to the husband to come and pick it up again. And now the husband acquires it again because the husband has to give it from himself. That's why from the beginning he already has to give the husband the writing utensils and everything in order that he's doing everything with the husband's property. Okay? Here, because you don't need it. It doesn't have to be done.
Huh?
You buy it from the sofer after he wrote the Torah.
Nobody buys after. You pay him in advance and you pay the material.
In advance, just to make sure, but it doesn't have to be lishma. There's nothing to do with it. But you could write it and then
it's his creation. It's his creation.
When you buy it, now it's yours. When you buy it, you don't need it.
You don't buy it in the end.
But you don't need it. The only reason why they take the money in the beginning is just to make sure that the person is actually going to pay it.
They buy the material.
But they don't need it. You don't need it, lishma. Ketiva of a get, you need lishma, meaning that it has to belong to the person that's writing it. Right? You're a sofer. You could write the Sefer Torah, and at the end, you have it already ready or half ready, and I come and I buy it from you. There's no problem, right? There's no problem whatsoever. But to do with the get, everything has to be mine from the beginning. It has to be everything Mishel Abad that doesn't exist by the Sefer Torah.
So he acquired it the first time, then the sofer writes it, and then the
third explanation. If you want, you could explain. According to everybody, an uman, the craftsman does not acquire it with the shevach kli, with the appreciation of the value. But there's going to be a machloket. And according to everybody, right, the chiyuv of tashlum is already from the time that he's doing the milacha, so it's considered a milveh, right? Which, by the way, this is a very interesting concept. Meaning like this: I'm going to now work for you for an hour, right? You have to pay me $1,000 an hour. Yeah, fine. I started working. Yeah, I worked for 10 minutes. Do you already owe me it's not really out of 10, so I can't say $100, but do you owe me already the $200 or whatever it is? Or no. After the hour, you come and you owe me the $1,000. That's the question.
So according
by the hour,
or to do something.
No, by the hour. No, if it's a job, it's a job. It can take you 20 hours or 1 hour. I'm talking about by the hour.
No,
right?
Create something.
No. It's by the hour. So here he says, according to everybody, which means the chiyuv of tashlum is already b'shat asiyat melacha, and therefore you consider a malveh, meaning you already owe me that money, right? That amount of the money. And we said, according to everybody, mekadesh b'milveh is not mekudeshet. What are we dealing with? He added on to the tachshit something from his own, which means he gave her mamon gamur from himself. And therefore, more savar milveh upruta tatea pruta. So more savar that what? That when you give a milveh plus a pruta, his dat is on the pruta, which is the extra that you're giving. More savar, and one of them is, oh, no, tatea milveh, it's only on the milveh. And therefore, even though you gave something extra, it doesn't matter. Because I'm only going on the milveh. With plukta dani tanai, and this is the makolka with this tanaim, Tanya, as we learned in the Braita, beschar shasiti mechan mekudeshet. If a person comes and he says, we're talking about the schar, which is magiali because of the avodah that I did for you, and I'm mekudesh, it's not going to be mekudeshet. If it's going to be the schar that I'm going to do with you, it's going to be mekudeshet when he finishes it. Rabbi Natan says, the schar she'eseimach also is mekudeshet and kol sheken b'ma she'asiti mecha, which I did with you. So basically the question is, do you say that if it's going to be done beforehand, meaning it's going to be done in the future, right, that I'm going to do with you, do you say that that's good and she's going to be mekudeshet, or do you say no, it's the same thing? Rabbi Yehuda Nasi Omer, be'emet amru, ki ben b'schar she'asiti ben b'schar she'eseimcha, ena mekudeshet. It's nothing. But if he added something, it is going to be a good mekudeshet. She's going to be, meaning that she came and she said, make me a ring. And then I came and I added on to her a beautiful jewel on the ring. That was the extra pruta that I added. Because I added that extra pruta, it's going to work. It's going to be okay. Okay? Ben Tanakama Rabbi Natan ikabenau schirut. Whether we're talking about Tanakama or Rabbi Natan, there's going to be the schirut. Ben Rabbi Natan Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, there's also milve upruta. More savar milve upruta date al milve. So it's going to be on the milve. More savar date a pruta. And more savar, it's going to be on the pruta. Fine. Okay, basically that's a machlok between them. Do we say it's going on the milve or on the pruta? Says the Mishnah. Itkachili bekos zeh shel yain. Mishnah memchet amubet, towards the middle. Imagine a person comes and he tells, right, a woman, Itkachili bekos zeh shel yain. Get married to me with this cup of wine. It wasn't wine. It was honey. Yeah, shel dvash, and really was wine. Shel yain. The dinar zeh shel kesef, with this dinar of kesef, and it was found to be gold instead of silver. Or shel zahav, and it was found to be gold. Right? Amenat shen ashir, on condition that I'm rich, and he's poor, and he was rich. And I'm mekudeshet. In all these cases, a woman is not going to be married. Why? Because it was like a mechtaut, which was mevatel the kinyan, and therefore she's not married. Rabbi Shimon argues and he says, Im hit'al leshevach, if he made her make a mistake, but he went upwards, right? Mekudeshet, she's mekudeshet. Meaning, let's say he gave her he said the dinar shel kesef, exactly, poor and then become rich, or dinar shel kesef and it was gold, or whatever, all the other cases. Anytime that you're going upwards, it's going to be okay. That is the shita of Rabbi Shimon. Says the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan, Hikachili bekozeh. Imagine a person comes and he says, get married to me with this cup. Tani Chad, the one that says, Bo, it's the cup and what's in the cup, the contents of the cup. Tani Idach, Bo, another says, no, it's the cup in itself, and not what's the contents of the cup. The Tani Idach, and the third shita, the contents of the cup, Velo Bo. So you have a three-way machloket. One more time. A person comes and he says, with this cup. Here, I have a cup. Do you say it's the contents and not the cup? Do you say it's the cup and not the contents? Or are you going to say both? Yeah, right? So he comes and he says, the first shita was both, right? Then the second one was only the cup, and the third one is the contents of not the cup. Says the Gemara, it's not a question. What's not a question? Ha b'maya, ha b'chamra, ha b'tziara. The braita that says mekudeshet bakos and not what's inside of it is talking about water. Why? Because the water is not chashuv at all. So you can't say it's the water. So it has to be the cup. So it's only the cup. The one that says bechamra, which is going to be the wine, right? That's the one that he says that it's mistaber that the kavanah was in the wine, and you have to give back the cup because since the wine is so expensive, so the wine was the main thing, and therefore you only had the kavanah on the wine and not the kavanah on the actual cup. So you drink the cup, she drinks the wine, and then she gives back the cup. Habetziara, here we're talking about the tzir of dagim, that you come and you use it like as a dip, right? As to dip your food in it, right? It's like the brine of the fish or whatever you want to call it exactly. So he comes and he says, so the kavanah was also in the cup and also the tzir in itself. So therefore both of them are going to be mitzarfim to shaveh pruta.
But if it's just water, then it's not shaveh pruta.
Exactly, that's why it's only the cup. There's the Gemara. According to Shidat Rabbi Shimon, if he made the mistake to make it in bigger, meaning that to appreciate it, to become better, it's going to be mekudeshet. Ask the Gemara, Rabbi Shimon, yain v'nitza chometz, chometz v'nitza yain, shnehem yicholim lachzor behem. Alma ika dnicha lebechala v'ika dnicha lebechamra. Hachanami ika nicha, right? Ika nicha lebekasva v'lo nicha lebedava. Says, I don't understand you. Rabbi Shimon does not hold of the braita. There's a braita that says, imagine right now I sold you wine, and then it was actually chometz instead of wine. It was vinegar instead of wine. Or I sold you vinegar, and then it was wine instead of vinegar. Both of them could retract, the seller and the buyer. He says, why? Because some people want vinegar, some people want wine. So you see from here, just like that it exists, that some people, that means even though it's going up in value to wine, that it does exist that some people want the vinegar. So to here, some people want the silver. They don't want the gold. So even though it's going up in value, what do I care? Some people want the silver. And now it became gold. What do I care now? I wanted silver. So that's the question. So Amar Rav Shimi Barashi says, Rav Shimi Barashi, Abaye was found that he was sitting and explaining it to his son. What are we dealing with? That he went to tell his shaliach, lend me a dinar of kesef and go get married to this woman. And he went and he borrowed from Zahav. More so Tarakama holds that kpeda, there was a kpeda that he was makpid that Dafka is going to be of kesef. And therefore, if the shaliach changed, it wasn't a good shaliach. If it wasn't a good shaliach, it's not mikudeshet. More so Shimon holds mare makom hulo. He was giving him like directions of what to follow, but he wasn't makpid on Dafka. He just wanted to get married to her. He didn't care what type of a dinar. He just went and he told her, go get the dinar and borrow money and get married. That's it. The value was we're not talking about between $100 and $1,000. And instead, talking about between gold and silver, right? So he comes and he says, if so, Idkat Shilo Mebaile. Idkat Shili means get married to me, meaning the husband is speaking to her directly. Idkat Shili, get married to me. Idkat Shilo means that you have to get married to him. If we're talking about a shaliach, the shaliach's not getting married to her. He says Idkat Shilo. So says the Gemara, Idkat Shilo Mebaile. The Hita leshevach, Hita hu leshevach Mebaile. No, Hita is mashma that he's mateota. He's making her make the mistake. Here, he's not making her make a mistake. She didn't make a mistake. She saw that it was silver from the beginning, or gold from the beginning. It was Hitahu. He made him make a mistake, meaning the shaliach made the owner make a mistake. So it comes out, it was out from the beginning. And but rather Rava comes and he says, I am the Ari of the Chabura, right? We translated it. Who's the Ari Shebachabura? Right? Many times you have in the Chabura, you have like the lion, right? Which is like the strongest one in the Chabura. Who is that? Rabbi Baravi. Hakam what are we dealing with? He says, Shamra hi lishlucha. For example, she said to her shaliach, go get married to me to this person that he's going to get married to me with a dinar of kesef. And he went and he gave him a dinar shel zahav. More Savar Tanakama holds kpeda, that there was a kpeda that the shliach davka is going to take kesef and not zahav. More Savar Shimon holds manimakom hila. She just went and told him manimakom. So now we're talking about not the shliach of the husband. Now we're talking about the shliach of the woman, right? And we already learned that a woman could also make a shaliach, right? Like Kabbalah Kiddushin, right? Obviously, we're talking about if it's above mitzvah, right? Above bogeret. So says the Gemara, umay nimtza. What does it mean then nimtza? The katzayir bivlita. He says the mekadesh. He wasn't mateh the shaliach, right? Already from the beginning, it was zahav. We already knew that. So he says no. The dinar was in a smartut when he accepted it. And therefore, the shaliach did not know what he was mekabel. Only afterwards, when he already opened it up, and then he found out it was actually of zahav and not of kesef. Okay, and that's why there was a mistake. So Amar Abaye comes and he says, Rashbag and Rabbi Lazar, they all hold Maremakomulo. Maremakom just means she was giving him directions. Go get married to me. She wasn't telling him davka kesef, davka zahav. Just go get this thing to get married to me, and that's it. That I'm going to get married. Rabbi Shimon was that which we just said. Hadamran. Rashbag, Rabbi Shimon, Ditram is learned in the Mishnah. Memtet Amud Aleph on the top. Get pashut. Edav mitocho. Remember, when you have a regular get, the witnesses are going to be inside of it. Mekushad, if it's going to be tied up, which is basically made like folds, so then edav me'achorav, it's going to be on the back. Pashut shekatvu edav me'achorav. But if you have a regular get that you wrote the dim on the outside, or mekushad that they wrote the dim on the inside, mitocho shneim psulim, they're going to be pasul. Chaim Gamliel says mekushash edav mitocho is going to be kasher. Sheichol azov, you can make it pashut still. Just open it up and make it pashut. Rashbag says everything goes according to the minhag of the Medina.